My name is Rakhi Sharma. So how are you all enjoying this afternoon? Exactly. So I would like to welcome you to our panel number 2. It is Women Shaping Responsible AI. Responsible AI, as you might all know, that is not about just compliance or checklists. It's about building systems that are fair, transparent, and are for everyone. Today, we are going to hear from women leaders who are balancing innovation with ethics, bringing in diverse voices and shaping the guardrails for AI's future. So we just have 20 minutes. Let's just bring them in. Let's welcome Vishakha Gupta. She's the co-founder and CEO of Aperture Data. As part of her office leading multimodal vector graph database for multimodal AI, she holds a PhD in computer science from Georgia Tech and MS Information Networking from CMU. Welcome, Ms. Vishakha.
Good to be here, and she made us do a catwalk here, so I hope you guys are recording.
Welcome, everyone. Vishakha. Let's give a round of applause to her. Now I'd like to welcome Senya Massel. She is an AI strategist. Who's someone you talk to when you wonder how your company can jump on the AI wave and what the future world will look like. She has designed an AI ethics course for undergraduates and built her venture in UK to Series A. And she was named in top 100 women social enterprise and now runs an office in New York with 300 people that help companies build innovative products and incorporate them. So let's welcome our third panelist, Divya Yeradutla. She's a commercialization strategy expert with 25 years in pharma, launching 30 plus products across 11 markets, and angel investors with life sciences angels and advisor to global companies. And she's known for bridging innovations with market success and is also the host of Women to Women podcast. Welcome, Divya.
That was a fantastic Palo, I can now do this.
So have a seat, and as you're having a seat, I just wanted to introduce myself a little. So my name is Rakhi Sharma, as you all know, and I'm a product management enthusiast helping companies like AI Alignment Liaison, who are helping companies build AI system responsibility and be sensible in the AI vision space. And I am really proud to be a part of AI Camp. So with that, let's begin our session. Okay. So let me ask you the first very important question, which was going to set the foundation for this panel. The term responsible AI gets thrown around a lot, as you know, but it can mean different things to different people. So in practical terms, beyond this buzzword, let's see what it means to you.
Responsible AI to me, it essentially means, like, I think in terms of data, graphs. I just live in that world, and I feel like it's good to prototype, and I think in the previous panel we heard about, like, how you have to actually go get the dirt on things. Mm-hmm. And the more you talk to people, you realize that as much as we have been talking about your AI is only as good as data, not much has changed on how people actually have been able to bring data. What everyone gets really enthusiastic about, oh, there's this new model that launched, and I tested it on my laptop, and this is good, that is bad, it's hallucinating at this point, and things like that. But when you go to deploy it in the real world, ultimately what's going to matter is, did you feed it all the relevant data? Or was it too complicated and you had to cut corners? And when you cut corners, does anybody know you did? Or are they going to blame the outcome on, well, this doesn't work? And I have talked to enough number of people and learned that it essentially sometimes it's just like it's bad tooling or not collecting data that needs to be collected, but the outcomes get blamed on, well, this doesn't work, or we're not ready for it, or it's too expensive.
That is so good. I've heard that. Now I would like to hear your thoughts.
When in 2020 I moved to Silicon Valley from Europe, AI was just a shiny toy in many hands, and today we see an enormous amount of military cases, cancer research cases, and to me, AI, responsible AI is not a virtue. This is what it means to work in AI space nowadays. You don't need to be infantile who doesn't want to be mature enough to take responsibility on how important each of your decision is in the space. So to me, I would just say that when I say AI, I mean responsible AI, just without saying.
just thoughts in that's true.
Well said. So for me, it's really three factors, right? Fairness in whatever you're building, it's the accountability part, and then also the transparency. Because we do build a lot of AI models, now we hear a lot about it, but then what are we building it for? Are you achieving what you're building it for? And are you doing it for everybody, irrespective of their socioeconomic conditions and everything? And simple example is, if you give an AI model to a high schooler, which I just was talking to somebody about, the chat GPT free version versus somebody who's given a professional version, their answers are very different. The knowledge they gain is very different. So is that fair? Maybe not, but that's a whole different discussion. But it's more about these three factors. So really accountability, fairness, and then transparency.
That's true that as we have to think about is the AI used responsibly or not, and how ethically or not, we are using it. So that's a great way to ground us. My next question is, now building AI responsibly often means making trade-offs sometimes, right? Between speed and safety, between innovation and ethics. So how do you strike the balance between these two, like in your own work when you do? So, would you like to ask that?
I can start. I think the balance is really about why we're doing it, right? So, is it achieving the impact that you assume that it would achieve, whatever that model is, whatever that system is, the app is, whatever you're building with AI? I think it's just a question of, is it achieving it, and is it achieving it the right way, which is where our responsible AI component comes in, right? You can do a lot of different things, as Vishaka was saying, right? You can build multi-models, and I think Neelu was saying 200 billion parameters. There's just a lot happening really fast. And sometimes you may not even need AI, and it might be a basic tweak to the process. So it's really coming down to what problem are you trying to solve? What are the best tools, right? And I think Mukta had also said that a little bit in the earlier panel. Sometimes you don't need all the bells and whistles. It might be just a small tweak. It may not even need AI, or it may be a small ML solution. What do you need, and how best do you do it responsibly so that you're getting what you need out of the system, and going back to our three factors, in a fair way, accountable way, and transparent way.
So it's all about thinking from the human perspective and then...
Exactly. We have to remember, AI is a tool to help you achieve something more efficiently, faster, and more productively, right?
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, AI cannot be the first thing that you think about. It's the problem. What problem are we trying to solve, which is more of the human factor. And then, how do you solve it? Maybe AI is a solution, maybe not. Most of the time these days it is, but... Yeah.
Because to add to the branding, yeah, we are doing responsible AI, or we are doing something in AI. Or do we really need it or not? That's the exactly. Anyone else like to add to that?
I would just say, when it comes to balancing, innovation and how fast you move, sometimes you see something coming and you just bet on it. That just means some sleepless nights, but you get it, you figure that stuff out. But yeah, like Divya said, there's as a founder, when you have to get people to use the product, you always have to tie it to the business case. Like what is the company gonna get out of it? What is some person, what is a group of people, what are they gonna get out of it? And as obnoxious as that question sounds to answer when you're trying to grow as a company, it really is the crux of the matter. Are you doing it for the sake of doing it? And then are you not doing something just because someone said, well, this is not gonna sell? Or you basically figure out, well, this is what you're gonna need, and I'm gonna find a way to.
That's true. And as a product management enthusiast, I would say that when we are prototyping, that's the right place for us to get a lot of these things answered. And how are we going to handle those things in future? And getting the feedback, continuous feedback from our customers, I think that would be a great way to take care of that as well. So, would you like to say something?
Just a short comment that I think innovation is very frequently ego-driven. It's either competition between companies or countries, and I do hope that society is going to go through the evolution and will become more conscious and realize that there are other motivations to go through the innovations. And in this case, responsible AI is a beautiful framework to think, okay, I'm doing this innovation because I want to make this world better. And yeah, you're right on the right track in this case.
That's right. Now, another important question, as a lot of you who might be in the responsible AI space might handle this. So, ethics in AI isn't just a technical conversation. We need everyone, product teams, leadership, policymakers involved. So just out of curiosity to understand, how do you bring non-technical stakeholders into the discussion and that resonates with them? So how do you deal with those conversations? And can you share an insight or example?
So the one thing is, right, like AI came up so fast, right? It just flooded every place. By the time we were trying to learn the first things, they were like more and more. It was like drinking from the fire hose for everybody for the first time, by the way. Because it's usually one specific domain that's handling that. Here, when AI came in, that was the case for everybody. Everybody was trying to learn. There are still stakeholders that are not there where every average person needs to be. Because again, they have their own jobs and they're trying to learn on the side. So I think it's very important to tie the impact that AI will bring. Just saying that I'm going to use AI doesn't help. For the stakeholders, you need to tell them it's like the same age-old thing, right? What's in it for me? So you need to tell them how is their problem going to get solved with AI and why AI, right? Because maybe it's more efficient and it's actually going to look at a lot more data very fast in a more accurate way, and in my world, it's usually tied back to resources. I need 5 resources to do this for 3 months. With AI, I need 1 resource, that 1 human in the loop, and I can get it done within 2 weeks, right? That's all I need to say and people are sold on it. But it's like, you need to understand who your stakeholders are, first of all. What is their key metric that they are going after, and then you need to also look at what they're trying to solve and how you're going to solve it with that. So I think that really helps, really bridge that gap, because you can't teach everybody what AI is, but you can tell them how AI will solve the problem and why AI and not a team of people.
And Zenia, would you like to say something?
Before the panel, I asked you the clarifying question, and I was like, but who's nowadays is non-technical audience? Because English is the programming language, all of us can build anything nowadays, and all of us is AI native, many of us. In this case, I think how to bring them in the conversation, just come with a sound argument, work on your reasoning, make sure that you use inductive, deductive reasoning, that it makes sense, and you have great evidence behind this. To me, when I want to talk with someone about responsible AI, I remember like back in time, the cars didn't have a safety belts.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to design a car without safety belts today or without the brakes. So with a great analogy, you can explain people why it makes sense to care about it, and don't run, because on the very first turn, you will really regret that you don't have those brakes.
And I would say that if we can bring human in loop when we are building our AI systems, and we can help them foresee, like, why do we need to have AI, responsible AI pointers, and to have a checklist over there to complete the system, basically. So moving on, so let's get a bit more technical. Vishakha and Zenia will like you to answer that. Are there any frameworks, tools, or processes you use that you have seen being used that helps evaluate fairness or reduce biases in the AI system?
What I've, so when we, working in the database field, you always have to involve multiple stakeholders. There's the data engineering team, there's the AI team, there's the people, the decision makers, and the platforms team. In that case, essentially, one very important role that we actually have to end up playing from the outside is bringing all those teams in a room together to get them all to agree. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is where all the data lives. This is what needs to come together for us to get to where we want to be. That's like the very first level setting. And after that is where, okay, what are the tools? This is something that we always have some more struggle with, because, it starts by changing how you have approached data and how you manage the data. So that's where it starts to be like the friction point, and then you basically start from one proof point, get it in something that's new and starting, show the value, and then kind of grow from there. So, and then if you show the right tools and how, make it really easy to deploy, cut down the time that it's taken, reduce the frustration, give a good user experience, then it starts to build your case for you. But you need the champions who see like what's gonna come, why they need to do this, and then go from there.
Got it. And okay, so one of the things I would like to add in that is nowadays, how many of you have heard vibe coding? Fantastic. So one of the interesting cases that I heard recently, that a lot of people, they are not just enthusiastic about using vibe coding to build their prototype, but actually for their actual product as well. But there are a lot of blind spots that they fail to address that. So I would say that if you're building any responsible AI system, definitely building a prototype, you can go with vibe coding, but when you are really truly building the system, go in depth and take care of all those checklists, compliances, and bring the human in you in that.
Yeah, so I can give a quick example about the bias factor, right? So, and this has been proved, there was a couple of studies done as well. The fact that, in breast cancer, we built a lot of models because the first thing that adopted AI within healthcare was really radiology. Because that was easy, it was easy to find anomalies, so you could run, millions of images and then find anomalies. So the biggest area was that. And then within that, when you look at breast cancer, we were trying to look at some models in the clinical trial space, right? To say, how do we even find the right patients? How do you find the patients for early detection? Because that's an area where early detection really helps. The issue was, much later when we started looking at it, the clinical trials do not have enough African American women who are inadvertently, really impacted by breast cancer way more than other races, right? And the issue was, because you're building a model based on the historical data from the last 30, 40 years, you're actually building a model that does not take their their race, their gender, ethnicity factors and the risk factors within that. So the models you're building, the markers you're looking for, do not really represent the actual population that it will be applied on. And that was where we said, well, and that's part of the responsible AI part. The model has done its job brilliantly, but then you as a human know that the data that was fed is not the actual representation of what actually happens. Then you have to take a step back and say, okay, we need to build other things within the model that will account for this. Because the data is primarily ethnicity that does not reflect the real population. So bias still exists. New models definitely have reduced that quite a bit, hallucination, the bias factor. But I guess it's so important to be the responsible party within this AI space, because a lot of it is still not accounted for depending on which space you're working in, especially in healthcare, because now you're actually trying to diagnose things through, companions, AI companions. You're trying to give advice where you don't have to even go to a physician. It's even more important for that AI to be very responsible and understand what's going into the model, into the data, and the whole rationale behind it. There are 4 factors you really look at, right, when you look at AI. One is productivity. One is the explainability of it, right? And then one is the ethical part of it, and the last is the responsible part. So that's like my peer that I look for, PEER, right? That's what I look for whenever I look at an AI model. And the last part is responsible, because not because that needs to happen at the end, but that needs to happen throughout. You have to be responsible no matter what you're doing within that framework.
Love this example. Thank you so much, everyone, for this.
I wonder if I can add one. I can actually ask a question around this in terms of it's really exciting to see that you can vibe code applications, right? But are we, one thing that always concerns me, are we losing the ability to ask questions like, how is this supposed to work? How is it working behind the scenes? And am I looking at all the data? Am I, is it representative of everything? I think so what you're getting at is not to lose that question, that whole scientific attitude, which is where we all started from, asking questions. Are we covering our bases?
And how much do you trust, right, what you're getting? And I know there was this report, I think Mobile Eye released it today morning. They did some benchmarking and they said, the PhD level things were only 4 out of 100 situations that they were able to solve with the model. So we have been told, they can solve everything. It can solve, and it absolutely has done a lot, but I think we also need to, as Vishaka said, apply our own lenses to it and say, as a responsible individual, how much do I trust and how much do I take this forward to the next step in my process, whatever that process may be.
Absolutely, because human in loop, and I bring a human in loop right in the beginning as well, asking the right set of questions, because it's us who has to ask the right questions at the right stage. Great examples, thank you. So even with the best intentions, we know there are still blind spots. If you truly want AI to work for everyone, where do you think we are still falling short on that? Just lighter.
I really want AI to be able to say, I don't know, and I think it's something that AI took from all of us. Because do you know the situation when you're in the room, you have no idea what the answer is, and you start to bullshit? And I'm like, why we never decided that it was a good idea to make AI so confident, assertive, and tell us all of those things. So to me, it would be so awesome if it wasn't accuracy first, but actually just be real first, teach AI to not be afraid of failure. It's okay to not know something for model. We're not going to get rid of you immediately. So yeah, I would really love sometimes ChatGPT being like, I have no idea, think yourself.
That's true.
I completely agree. What makes us good individuals, good leaders, good contributors is the vulnerability factor, right? We say we don't know, we want to learn, and I think that's missing because we didn't teach it.
Yeah. That's right. Anything that you like to add?
I think I agree with them. It's like that learning capability, and I've been thinking about the memory layer. What does that mean? And the more I think about it, we all are taught to go to sleep, right? So we can make all those connections and everything that happened during the day and persist it and think about it in the grander context. I think that part is what's missing in terms of like go to sleep for some time and make those connections and really learn from everything around you. Listen.
I think that's another thing too, right? We are a sum total of our experiences. What my opinion was yesterday is not my opinion today because I've learned a lot over the 1 year. The models are not changing, right? We are only feeding them what we need them to know, and that's how their opinions are changing. And I think we have so many more dimensions when we think of a problem than AI can. It depends on what it has been, right? So I think that's the one difference, and I don't know how that at some point will get filled up or how they catch up in their modeling systems, but that's one thing which would never change. Because what I may have liked milk yesterday, today morning I hate it because something happened, you know? Our minds change and we have the right to change our minds.
There has to be checks and balances.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Fantastic. So we are at the last questions, and let's wrap up with a forward-looking thought. So if we can really design one norm in the AI development life cycle, change something which has already been done or not, what would you like to change?
How realistic we can go.
You just can be imaginative, but I would say be realistic, as much as you can. Anything that comes to your mind?
Data infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard one. I'll let Celia go first.
I would love models that take lots of humans' data right now, like lots of B2C models. Stop thinking only in their own interests and start to educate people that when you share your legal data, like your passport, and then you press a share button, it's indexed and I can find this information myself on you on Google. And they're not going to stop you doing this because they want to train and they want to become a better model. So in this case, I would love them sometimes to also think about the fact that they already know that people do not know this and be proactively educative. That would be really nice.
Got it. And so
I don't know how we can make it the best version, and I'm sure everybody has a different opinion, because it's a very individual opinion and how we can make it better. But I think at some point we need to have more standards defined. I think that's one place where we lack. Some places it's defined well, some places they're still building it, but there is no cohesiveness in the modeling, right? Or the standards or the benchmarks on what should be done for each model so that it's as responsible as it can be. It'll never be 100% ethical because it's an individual view. It'll never be 100% responsible, but as much as it can be. So I think we as humans have that responsibility to define those benchmarks, those guardrails under which the development can happen. So going forward, at least, there is some sense of responsibility as a human race that we own all of this AI.
Fantastic. And towards the end,
Just one line. I'm thinking the best thing to change is to make, for our panel specifically, is to make it very easier for people to be more responsible with AI in their day-to-day work. So that is, I invite all of us to create a checklist.
sure.
Okay, and all of us, you can find us on LinkedIn, and I promise that in 2 weeks, latest, we're gonna work together on this, and we're gonna share this checklist with you, how you can be more responsible with AI in your day-to-day.
Love this idea. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so we are on LinkedIn. So please connect with us, and then we will be building this checklist, and you all can be a part of this. So love this action item. Thank you so much. So towards that, I'd like to say that if there's one thing that we can remember, that responsible AI starts with making intentional choices at every stage of the product development. So let's keep asking these tough questions. Let's keep putting a human in loop, and let's keep putting the values that as humans we care about the most. So with that, I'd like to thank you, all our panelists. Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause.